Hey there. I wanted to reach out, take this time to help my clients make the most of the newsletter service. I figure there's never going to be a better time than now to really focus on our business with us all pretty much locked down to our homes. So yeah, I'll just get right into it. This is my first, I guess I wouldn't really call it a webinar. I wanted to put something together where you could just, you didn't have to be tied down, to a certain time to view it. But yeah, it's hopefully we'll see how it goes. Like I say, this is my first time doing it. So, but I just wanted to do this video, take the opportunity, because I mean, right now is a time when you're never going to get a better time to really just focus on building your business and making it better. So yeah, here goes. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint slide I put together, and I'm going to rush through quite a few of these things, just because a lot of them don't apply so much to current clients. But here's just some of the things we're going to cover today. So we're going to just super quick talk about email marketing facts. You're already a client, so you know the importance of email marketing, but I'm just going to just quickly go over that stuff just to hopefully maybe inspire you, just to drive home some of those points. We're going to talk about how e-newsletters compare to print and social media. And we're going to talk about how to create quality content. So obviously we already have content created for you, but we're going to talk about ways that you can customize it, because that's really what this whole video is about, like how to get in there and just put your own personal spin on it, because that will drastically increase readership if you have content that really just shows your own personal side. It helps build trust and relationships, which is what these newsletters are all about. We're also going to talk about strategies on how you can build your list up, so that you can get your list up into the thousands eventually. And then at the end, it's not really a very special offer, but it's just it's a referral program that we have so that you can make money sending or mentioning our service to your colleagues. So, all right, let's get into it. So this is about me, in case you don't know me a little bit. This is the whole point of the newsletters, really, so they'll get to know you. So I figured I'd tell you a little bit about me. So I am a real estate agent. I started back in 1996, I believe. I sold real estate for 5 years straight, and then I sort of transitioned into newsletters. So I'm still licensed. I just recently rejoined my board in Kitchener-Waterloo, but I'm not practicing. I do like the odd referral here and there, but it's kind of nice to have access to the market again. And yeah, I miss real estate for sure. There's lots of things. I just miss the negotiating. I miss the not knowing how your day is going to end when you wake up in the morning. So love my real estate agents. I'm one of you, although I'm not practicing. I've been married for over 25 years now. I met my beautiful wife at the CN Tower back, I guess, like 27 years ago, when I was working my way through college in Toronto, Ontario. I've got two lovely children, both teenagers. Alia, my daughter, just had her sweet 16th on April 3rd, so she had to do that on isolation, so that's something we'll never forget. But we still had fun. And my son is graduating high school, although his graduation, I guess, won't be typical, the usual grade 12 graduation that you go through. But we're all hunkered down here and coping well. I've got two amazing dogs. I've got my the big guy there with the Christmas hat on. He is Nelson, and he's 9 years old. And then we got a puppy who's 9 months old, so 9 months, 9 years. And then the two cats, they just kind of do their own thing. All right, enough about me. So we're going to just quickly talk about the importance of email marketing. So email marketing, some stats I'm just going to run by real quick. Email marketing provides a $38 return on investment for every dollar spent, which is mind-blowing. Just think of that. Like, if you can spend $1 and get $38 back, that's a pretty serious return on investment. Second of all, it's typical email subscribers worth around $1 a month. And I think this would be a lot more be even more worth. A subscriber would be even worth more for real estate agents, just because of the amount of money that we get when we do make a sale. But if you say, for instance, if you had 852 subscribers, you'd be looking at making around $852 a month on average. for all the subscribers. So what these stats are meant to do is try to give you some motivation on why it's important to build your list. If you're on the phone, somebody's calling about a listing, or if you have a duty call, I don't even know if they do those anymore, but or just if you're just speaking to somebody at the gym or whatever like that, if you can get them to subscribe to your email address, and I've got a couple lines on how we can do that, how to make that easier later on. You just made $12 a year just for throwing out a couple sentences. But the main thing is, if you've got a list of say like 1,000 people, and hits, or an event like this hits, or something like that, you're going to be fine. If you have a large list that you're constantly in contact with, you sort of recession-proof yourself. And then finally, everybody's heard this before, where it's 10 times more cost-effective to retain existing clients than to constantly be out there trying to find new ones. So if you've got an existing relationship with somebody, it's so important just to keep in touch with them every month, and then you'll have constantly people that are reaching out. It's a long-term thinking kind of thing where it's not an immediate thing. But if you just keep in touch with people month after month, then people will just start month after month sort of falling into your lap. So these are just very quickly some of the important things of email marketing. And watch this. Boom. Love that graphic. So with numbers like that, you can't afford not to have a newsletter. All right, let's move on. So this is just a couple of really quick testimonials. So the first, I had a lead from a couple while back when I sent them some listings. So I used to go through this all the time. Never heard back from them after 6 months. Then they heard. So I used to go through this all the time. This is why I developed a newsletter system, I guess, back in 2003. So 17 years ago. I would get some leads through my website, but then I would follow up, and then I wouldn't hear back, and then I'd be chasing them down, and then I'd get other leads, and then I'd forget about the other ones. So I thought, this is crazy. I need to develop my own newsletter so that I can keep in touch with these people. And then I'd subscribe them, and then like 6 or 7 or 10 months later, I'd get an email saying, hey Russ, thanks so much for keeping in touch. We really appreciate it. My wife and I were now ready, and we'd like to come down and sit with you and talk about buying a house. Had it not been for the newsletter, there's no way they would have remembered me. So because I took the 10 seconds to subscribe to my newsletter, I ended up making $10,000 in commissions. It was just such a no-brainer. And as you can see, I became passionate about newsletters, and I've turned it into a business. Same thing with the testimonial below. It's this afternoon I heard from a past client who responded to my newsletter. So this agent had not heard from these people for 10 years, and had it not been for the newsletter, she likely wouldn't have heard back from them again either. So next, running right through this, I'm going to talk about a few things about digital newsletters, electronic newsletters, email newsletters versus the traditional print newsletters. Now, this isn't to say that you shouldn't do print newsletters. They do have their place, and if you are looking to do that, we have an excellent company that we can recommend. But there are definitely limitations. Let's say the pro probably would be that you can pass them out to everybody in a specific neighborhood. I think that's probably the only pro in my opinion. But so here's some of the pros of the electronic newsletter. So first of all, it's much less expensive. You don't have to pay for your postage. You don't have to pay for your printing costs. So usually that's going to be like $1 a person. So if you've got 500 subscribers, you're going to be paying about $500 a month. Now, that might be, that might not be, that could be affordable. But the thing is that what if you have 2,000 subscribers, right? Then it's like $2,000 a month. And probably what's going to happen is you're going to be like, I don't know if that person should receive it or that person should receive it. So you're going to constantly be wanting to shorten your list, which is crazy. What you want to do is you want to build your list, because you don't know if that person you might cut might be interested in buying a house, 7 months down the road, or maybe they forward your electronic newsletter on to their daughter-in-law or something like that. So you want to keep the costs low so that you're able and free to be able to build your list up into the thousands. Next, a big plus with the electronic newsletters is they're clickable. People, especially today with the incredibly short attention spans, they're not going to take a piece of paper and take it to their desk and then type in the website address and then go find your home evaluation. Whereas with an electronic newsletter, they can just scroll, see a home evaluation offer, click it, and fill out their information. So having a clickable call to action is a huge plus to an electronic newsletter. Moving right along, an electronic newsletter is shareable, so you can either share it on Facebook, and I'm going to show a great way for you to share individual articles on Facebook coming up shortly. Or somebody can just take the email and they can just forward it on, just like the example I mentioned earlier on, where somebody could forward it on to their daughter-in-law. What do we got next? We got trackable. So electronic newsletters are trackable. You can see exactly who's opening them, how many times they've opened them, whereas you don't get that at all with print. And then finally, electronic newsletters are people are always trying to go paperless, so it's just a little bit more environmentally friendly. Next up, we got digital versus social. Now, I'm not saying don't do social media. Social media is very important. Just like a newsletter, it's not the be and all, and it's some ammo in that you've got to use. It's one sort of thing that you can use amongst other things. So I'm not saying don't do social, but here are some of the advantages that an e-newsletter has over social media. First of all, you have a focused audience. So people, when you generally sit down and they look at their email, they're sort of more mindful. They're more relaxed. They'll just read more. Whereas on social, they're just like scrolling past, looking at this and that. There's just too much going on there where they just lose their focus. Everyone has an email account. Pretty much everybody has an email account anyways, whereas you might not have people that are on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter. There's just so many things. So with an electronic newsletter, you can pretty much be guaranteed that you're going to hit everyone. Next is it's very easy to ask somebody for their email address. So you can just say, hey, I've got an amazing newsletter. It has all the stats for the Kitchener-Waterloo real estate market that I can subscribe you to. What's your email address? Whereas with social media, you can be like, do you want to be my friend on Facebook? It's just kind of creepy and weird. So it's just more natural to ask people to subscribe to your newsletter. And then finally, and this is a real important one, is with your email newsletters, you own the list. It's your list forever, right? Nobody can take it away from you. But with Facebook, you just don't know where some of these companies are going, where they pivot, what they do, or they could shut you down. But at the end of the day, you don't own your followers. That's all their system. So if they were to shut down your account, and I've seen it happen before, or if they, for whatever reason, at the end of the day, you can't really take those followers and move them onto another system. So you want to be free. You want to own your list. So that's what I've got as far as that goes. And so next up, this is the stuff that I really want to get to, about how to create quality content that your subscribers are really gonna love. Now, we already come out with some really good content, I keep in touch. I look at all my competitors all the time that offer their newsletters. There's one competitor we have. They briefly mentioned COVID-19 in the intro, but then the first article was how to stage your home for a perfect sale, right? So we try to make it good, try to make it easy for you coming up with content, but it's so much better if you can take it then and give it your own personal spin and make it your own and put your own intro in, or maybe take an article we've done and add to it, or add your own article. So these are some ideas. Like for instance, for this month, April, we had the first article was on keeping calm at home. So some ways just to keep the environment calm at home now that everybody's cooped up. So it has to do with home, and it has to do with COVID-19. We don't make it too serious. We certainly don't make light of it. But it can be a challenge to try to write a newsletter that hundreds and hundreds of my clients find to be unique to them. It's tough in the best of times, but this gives you the power to be able to put your own spin on it. And then we also did one on virtual roller coaster rides that are offered at Canada's Wonderland. And then finally, the last one was an app called House Party, where people can keep in touch with others during COVID-19. So we come up with the content already, but then you can take 10 minutes and you can take a newsletter that's already done and make it amazing with your own content. So here's some ideas on what you can do. So first of all, just personal content. So in the intro section is probably the best spot to do this, especially if you're pressed for time, which, let's face it, none of us are really that pressed for time right now, unless you've got a bunch of toddlers running around. If that's the case, my heart goes out to you. but personal content is so you could talk about something in the intro section, like You could just talk about what you've been up to lately. You can put a picture in there. You can talk about how you're coping at home or anything, just whatever. And some of you might think like, oh, nobody cares about me, or who do they think I am, J-Lo or whatever. Like it trust me when I say this, the personal content, it goes a long way. I look at the real estate agents who send these newsletters out, because I subscribe to every single one, and I can tell the people that just put their own spin in there, and I hear from them, and they say like, oh, my clients, they love this, they love that. It's because they put that personal touch in there. So whether you do it just in the intro section or you create a whole article on your own, like there's one person I know and he does a recipe every month, they'll post vacation photos. Those are the people that really kill it with a newsletter. Local market stats. So a lot of the times we'll do this for our clients. If we have clients if we have enough clients in an area, we'll add the local market stats. If you're not one of those clients, it's super simple to do. You just go to your board, and you can just take the stats right from the board and just cut and paste them directly right in the newsletter. And I'm going to get to that very shortly about how easy it is to customize the newsletter. But again, with local stats, some boards have done an amazing job with their monthly summaries, talking about COVID-19 and how it's important to, practice the social distancing and how the agents take it seriously, and how the agents understand that people need to put the plans off and everything. And other boards just completely just ignore it, and they'll just blurt the stats out like nothing's kind of going on. So I think in cases like that, you probably want to add a few paragraphs into the stats and adjust them a little bit. And this is where we can't do it for everybody, because like some agents may just want to just really not talk about it, whereas other agents really kind of do. They really want to take that opportunity to be like a shining star, really empathize with what's going on. I mean, it's such a great opportunity to do that. So that's where you can either put in your own stats, or you can just adjust stars. I was looking at somebody's newsletter just yesterday, and they highlighted different parts that they put in that's saying about how the stats didn't really accurately reflect, because the last half of March was different with the COVID-19. It just kind of shut everything down. Next, community events. So again, we do this for a few of our clients where we have enough agents in a city where we can put community events. Now, this has been a real challenge, because we used to put things in like the home show, or festivals or things like that. So we had to pull all those, and instead what we did for the few clients that we've got, I think we do it for Kitchener-Waterloo, Toronto, Ottawa, and London, where we put in some resources for COVID-19, different things you can do to help out in your community. So but you can do this on your own as well. Like you can put in, you can add to these community events, or if you're not one of the clients that we have where we do community events for our agents, then you can just put them in yourself. And then things are going to turn around, like for sure. So when they do, just take the home show, put it in, or take an event that's coming up. Next, we've got digital farming. So there's a really cool feature where, so if you've got, you can do a newsletter for, say, if you've got a newsletter in, say, Regina, Saskatchewan, and there's a neighborhood in there called Mapleview, we'll just go with, right? So you could take the Regina, Saskatchewan newsletter, and then you could create a subcategory off of that called Maplewood, and then you could send everybody the Regina newsletter, except for clients who are in Maplewood. Whereas it would pre-fill with everything already, but then you could throw an article in that's specific just to that neighborhood, and then designate people in your subscriber list so that they would just receive that version. I call it digital farming. And if you live in Maplewood and somebody's sending you a Maplewood newsletter every month, I mean, that's something you're really going to look forward to. And in that, you could talk about listings that are available, listings that are sold, community events that are coming up, things like that. And I mean, that's something that people would genuinely look forward to. And it's probably something that nobody else is doing. So you can easily stand out with that. Charitable events are another excellent thing. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to run through here. And you obviously don't need to do all of this each month. These are just a whole bunch of ideas. So you can maybe just pick one or two. Charitable events, though, are great. Things like Habitat for Humanity. Sometimes we'll mention food bank, food bank, especially in times like this, or up here where it's cold in Canada. Sometimes there's things like socks for the homeless. So we'll really try to hit on those types of things. And I love it because it makes you look like an absolute superstar, like you have a heart and you caring about what's going on in your environment. Really the best part is that you're taking this amazing charity and you're sharing it with all of your subscribers. So you're helping to get the word out there. So it's definitely a win-win, because you're helping the people that benefit as well. Promotional giveaways. Oh my goodness, I hit my mouse twice. So look at that. You see two things at once. This is my first time kind of doing this whole thing, like with the slideshows and the screen recording and stuff, so bear with me. The promotional giveaways. So an example of this, I'll give you a couple examples. Back in the day when there used to be home shows, I would convince. I would try to get real estate agents to say, like, if there's a home show coming up, tell your readers, like, the first 5 people that respond will get a free pair of home tickets. It's just a great way, and highlight it so that they see it. It's just if you're always kind of giving away stuff like that, it'll really help with your readership. But another promotional giveaway was there was an example of an agent who would take they would do trivia. So they'd have a local trivia contest where they would ask something that was locally relevant, and the first person who responded with the right answer would get like a $50 Starbucks gift certificate. And then next month there would be another question that would kind of go on like that. The next month they would say who won last month and what the answer was, and it would keep going on like that. So it's stuff like that really really helps generate reader interest. And Insider Secrets is next. So this can be things like, sometimes we'll do an article on like body language, how agents can read stuff like that. So I mean, Insider Secrets is more of a sort of a personal thing, but it gives you a chance to sort of show what a professional you are and like little things that you do or whatever. So oftentimes you can take an article that we do, but then you can sort of give it your own sort of little twist. And cross promotion. So this would be something like if you had like a mortgage broker. So for instance, the mortgage broker could advertise you in their newsletter, and then you advertise them in your newsletter. But it doesn't have to be somebody that's related to real estate. For instance, it could be like your auto mechanic or the florist or something like that. And they don't even necessarily have to put you back into their newsletter. But if you're out there every month in the community promoting a local business, it's going to come back to you. I'm a big believer in, if you put it out, it sort of comes back to you, maybe in a much different way, but I think it's true. So yeah, and I mean, if you wanted to, another idea that I've not heard of any agents doing it, but if you wanted to, if you had 800 subscribers, and I'm going to get to that about how to build your subscriber list up shortly. But if you had 800 subscribers that were all focused like on real estate, I mean, you could take somebody else that's sort of like would like the same target audience as you, and you could easily sell them an ad for $100 a month to put something like that in your newsletter. I mean, it's a great way to pay us $37 a month and you collect $100 off somebody else. This is making you money. But personally, I think it's best just to do it sort of back and forth, because at the end of the day, if you sell a house, you're going to get like 10 or 20 or whatever $1,000 from that, rather than $100 a month. That's my personal opinion, anyways. Call to actions are important to have in your newsletter. So we've got a couple places for that. There's we usually do like a home evaluation at the top, and that depends on whether or not you have a home evaluation on your website. But I'm going to show you how to do that in the profile section coming up soon. And also there's a spot in the PS line where we usually talk about let us help you find the perfect home, and you can put a link there that leads to if you've got like a dream home finder kind of type thing on your website. But you can put other types of things in there as well into your newsletter, such as like wondering what the house down the street sold for or whatever. So you can have it's a great opportunity to have lots of call to actions in your newsletter. Oh my goodness, getting thirsty here. All right, and finally, featured listings. So I just kind of put this at the bottom just because a lot of the times, I would put a listing in that's interesting. If you listed like, a 2-bedroom condo in a building that's, not really that interesting, people don't really care about that, because the person receiving this newsletter, number one, they may not even be interested in looking to buy a house because they bought from you a couple of years ago. So you don't want to put them to sleep with like a 2-bedroom condo that you've got. you want to keep them interested. But if you've got like a crazy, amazing listing, you know, like put that in for sure. But it's, you know, you put your listings, and I don't mean to make it like it's not a big deal, but there's so many other important things. That's why I just kind of put it at the bottom of the list. But putting a listing in is very simple. You just basically upload the photo, give it a description, and then what I suggest is that you just have a link that goes to your website where you can tell them more information about it, because that way it gets them to your website where they can click around and get in touch with you that way. All right, so next, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop on over here into the system to sort of show you how it works. So I'm going to start off right with the profile. So I just talked about calls to action. So the call to action here is this section here. So this goes up in the intro section. So this would be like a home evaluation, and then this is where the intro image, this is the image, and this is what links to it. I'm going to show you on the preview there how it all comes together in a sec. And then this is the call to action for finding your dream home. So to add a link, a lot of you probably already know this, but I'll just go through real quick. You just highlight the text, you just click the link here, and then you just cut and paste that in there. I usually set these up for clients. I'll go in after and clean things up for them. So usually I've got these this closing line sort of set up. The custom header is something that will go all across the top that would replace like the standard header that we have. So let me just go over to a newsletter real quick and just show you here. So you can see I've got that background there with the brick. So if I were to say preview this newsletter, you're going to see the heading here with the brick background, and then what this part here just takes everything that's in the profile and fills it in for you. It takes my mugshot there and sticks that in. But if you had a custom header, what it would do is it would replace this entire section here. So I'm just going to flip on back to the profile, and yeah, I mean, everything's pretty self-explanatory. Make sure you've got your social links all filled out. So this is where you would put the custom header, and it would just basically go over top of all this. There's no reason to get rid of any of this. You can just keep it there in case you ever were to get rid of your header down the road. And the theme color, this is at the very top where it's blue. The header font color, so this is the font that goes in the header. So here, this text darker because it's sort of a white background. So that's just a super quick tutorial on how the profile works. The PS section, I'll just quickly talk about this. This remains in place month after month after month, but if you wanted to change the newsletter just 1 month, you don't need to change it here. You just change it directly on the newsletter itself. All right, so let's just finish talking about content. So I might as well sort of show you what to do, how you can go in and make the newsletter your own. So I'm going to shoot down here. This is my own account, so I've got a whole bunch of different newsletters that we use for sample purposes, but I'm going to go with the Kitchener-Waterloo newsletter. So this is what you'd sort of see in your dashboard. The first thing you can do is preview it, see what it looks like, but we're going to get right into editing it. So first thing is you can change the delivery date right here if you want to, or you can change it right before you publish the newsletter. You just click on this, and then you just change the date here, the time here. So this is the subject line. The variables are things like community. So Kitchener-Waterloo, that would fill that in. So the reason it used to have Kitchener-Waterloo real estate here. The reason I do this, I like KW because it's the short form, but I found that Keller Williams agents were getting confused in selecting it as a category. So to get rid of this, if you're say in Calgary or San Diego, you would just take this if you wanted to put something in, or you could just leave it as San Diego, but if you wanted to get rid of it, you highlight it and just hit backspace. But this is what your subject line is going to say, and it's completely customizable. There's only one newsletter layout at the moment, so you don't need to worry about that. This is where this pulls the call to action that I talked about just earlier from your profile, but just the same as the PS line, you can change it month to month directly in the newsletter, and then next month it'll just go back to the default. So if you wanted to say put something else up in here, you could just put a picture of, like, we've got a bunch of pictures of like, you know, springtime, a house or whatever, you know, kind of, or you can upload your own into the image library. And if there's no link that you want to have, you can just leave that blank. or just leave it to your home evaluation. If somebody clicks on a picture, then it leads them through. No harm, no foul, right? So here's the intro section. So this is a great example of kind of where you need to come in and just make this your own. So I hope you're doing well during these challenging times and that you and your loved ones are healthy. So I tried to build something for all my clients that's not making light of it, but not making it like it's the end of days kind of thing, which I think is a good approach. So I just put, spring is usually a very busy time for real estate. That's obviously not the case at the moment. Homes are still continuing to sell, but at a much lower rate than usual. So I'm trying to say that we're still active, but things are slower. But I don't want to be like, this is the perfect time to buy a house or anything like that. Now, I think that this is probably the case pretty much all over North America, but if for some reason things are just popping in your part of the country, then you would want to change this, right? So, and it's super simple to do. So you just come in here, you just type your stuff, and then you save it, preview it, and then at the end, when everything's perfect, then you hit the publish button. Very important. I know I'm skipping all over the place, but it's very important to hit that publish button when you're done. Otherwise, your changes, even though you've saved them, won't go out. And the reason we have this in place is because we don't want a half-finished newsletter to go out to your clients. There is a 24-hour warning built into the system, so it'll know that you've made changes but not published it, but don't rely on it. So very important to save your changes and publish them before your delivery date, which by default is the 18th. All right, so yeah, let me just finish off with this. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, skip too far. So to give you a better idea, the latest market stats are listed for you below, along with a few local resources. So these are things that we put in for our KW clients. On a separate note, so I'm sort of like bringing them back down a little bit. It's important that your home environment remains calm during times like these. So here's a few things you can do to be chill at home or whatever. That's obviously I'm not reading that word for word. And then there's also a virtual experience idea that's perfect for entertaining the kids while you're at home, as well as an app that makes it easy to arrange a group video chat with friends and family. So if you don't like one of these articles, you can just get rid of them. So if you didn't like, say, the roller coaster idea, if you thought it was stupid or whatever, you can just delete it here. But then just make sure that you get rid of it up here as well. But I don't think anybody's going to think that's stupid, right? That's had actually really good feedback. And then the last little while has been an ongoing adjustment for us all, but we will get through this and come out stronger than ever. I truly believe that. I think that's I think when this is done, I think the air is going to feel fresher, laughter is going to be louder. I think a lot of things are really going to come out in the end, and that's the whole point of why I'm doing this video, because right now you can take this time to really fine-tune your business. So when this is over, you're going to come out, you're going to have all these things in place. You're going to be a superstar. I think this is going to really separate a lot of people. People that just took this time and wallowed between people that stepped up and became strong. So, but long and the short of it, and then this, in the meantime, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be at my home office, smiley face. If this isn't your personality, then you can just remove the smiley face. Or if you don't have a home office, I think everybody does, you could change this. So this is where you can go in and you can take the time to customize it, and it doesn't even really take any time. You can do this in like 5 minutes. You can sort of make it your own, hit save and publish it. So the stats, I just use the board stats. They're pretty good. They're pretty sensitive, despite much needed wishes to emphasize, that it's essential service we're doing to flatten the curve and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good write-up. We did this for the community stuff. If you've got stuff you want to add yourself, this is where you can do it. So you don't have to just use our articles, though. You can use this section here to insert your own article and start something off from scratch. So that's about it for here. I'm just going to talk real quick about what this is here on the right-hand side. So what this is the social media post title. So this has nothing really to do with the article itself, but rather how this article will appear on social media. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. So just don't want to miss anything here. So next, I think that covers everything. So again, just save it and make sure you publish it. Okay, so let's get back here to the presentation. So again, and so this is what our clients are saying. So I had a call today from a recent client who said he really enjoys my newsletter. It's simple, easy, and to read. He asked me if he manages. So this is another just some inspiration here for you. And I've been using a newsletter for over a year. So this kind of talks about what we just talked about. I'm very pleased with the regular feedback I get every time my clients receive it. I'm particularly pleased with how easy it is to use. Not only can I add my own articles and listings, but I can easily edit the standard articles if I feel I want to say something a bit differently. On top of all this, your customer service is amazing. So this is just saying that it's easy to go in, make it your own, and send it out. Okay, building a list. So this is the second big part of this. The first was what you can do to customize your newsletter and really make it your own, really build that trust with your subscribers. The second part is how to build your list up. So first thing is ask everyone you come into contact with. So if you get a call about an open house, or if you meet somebody back in the days when you used to go to the gym, or out you're walking your dog or whatever, just always be asking everybody you come into contact with if they'd like to subscribe to your newsletter. Now don't just say, would you like to subscribe to my newsletter? Don't say that. Instead, say something like, I've got an amazing newsletter that has all the local real estate stats in it because it's so important to know what's going on with the markets. So yeah, I've got all these, and get that, say it in front of the mirror like every night for a week until you get it down. So you're not like, blah, 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 like I just did, but something like, I've got an amazing newsletter. In today's market, it's important to know what's going on. So I've got a newsletter with all the stats in it that I can send you. What's your email address? Just something like that. Just get into the habit of doing it. And they'll be like, oh yeah, no, that sounds awesome. It's blah, my email address is blah, 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 .com, right? So ask everybody you come into contact with. And you want to try to add 2 new people each day to make that a goal. I know things are a little slow right now, but this is a great opportunity to be able to reach out to people that you haven't been in touch with. Try to add 2 new people a day that way. Once things get going again and you're back out in the field, it's easy to add 2 new people that way. If you add 2 new people to your newsletter every day, that's 720 subscribers every year. So 5 years from now, you'll have 3,600, I think the number is. So if you just get into that habit every day, you'll have lists of thousands of people. When you have lists of thousands of people, you're recession proof. You don't need to worry. And when you retire 5 or 20 or whatever years from now, you'll have a list of 10,000 people. And think of the power of that. You'll be able to retire and live off referrals alone. It's so important to be constantly out there building your list. And a key to building your list is to be super proud of your newsletter. A key to being super proud of your newsletter is to add content that's relevant. So everything sort of ties in, right? So the next is to add a sign-up form to your website. So I'm going to jump back into the system. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. Display your newsletter in your email signature. So it's a great opportunity to say, subscribe to my newsletter, highlight it with a link that goes to your subscriber form, which again, I'll show you in a second where that is. And yeah, it's just another opportunity to get people subscribed. Share your newsletter on social media. I'm going to get to that as well. I hope I don't forget. I think I've got them written down because I don't want to miss anything here. Create a lead magnet. This is something that you can do. This is a perfect time to do it. So if you've got like information on the new home buyers, how like all the different little secret tricks that people can, first-time home buyers can take advantage of, like new home buyer programs, or if that would make a great lead magnet. Like so a lead magnet is basically like a PDF. It doesn't have to be super long. It doesn't have to be like super professional. Just start with something. And a PDF is something that you would send them, the document. It's an ebook, really, that you send in return for their email address. Another example of an ebook is what you could do is you could create like the top 10 secret hangouts in your city kind of thing. just anything of value that you can send them that in exchange for their email address. Reach out to me later if you want more information on creating a lead magnet. But I was talking about this before. You gotta be so proud of your newsletter. It's important, because if you're not proud of your newsletter, you're not going to really be asking people to subscribe to it. You'll be like, I want to subscribe to my newsletter or whatever. Be proud of it. Like this, it's an amazing letter. Even if you don't touch it, it's still an amazing newsletter because it's got amazing content. But if you've got your stats in there, if you've got a community event, if you're talking about like what's going on in the community, or I mean, it's interesting. It's not like all that other generic type newsletter stuff that's just boring or whatever. If you put your own personal spin on it, you can put a video, you can do whatever you want, but be proud of your newsletter. And if you're proud of it, you'll just naturally be able to attract people. And don't delay. Think long term. God, this is so important. I'm always harping on to agents for years and years. I've been doing this forever. Start now. Get your list going. Prepare for the future and stuff like that. I'll have agents that say, "Yeah, no, I'm just so busy. I'm so busy right now. I'll do it over Christmas." And then I'll talk to them, over Christmas, and be like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm just trying to get this done. And I'm gonna do when things slow down in the summer. I'll do it." And then Christmas will roll around. This is going for years. Drives me nuts, but yeah, you just gotta do it now. And like I say, you're never gonna get a better time than now. And another thing with the thinking long term, just while I'm on my little rant, is we're in the kind of business where you want to get a sale. You want to like, where's my next sale so I can pay my crazy bills to my broker or whatever. And the brokers sometimes don't help either, like they'll be like, you're only as good as your last sale. What's your last sale coming in? This is a business where you got to think long term. You've got to get your list going, and you have to think long term because it is a long term kind of thing. But if you get your list going, you add a couple new people every day, and then 4 months down the road, things are going to start trickling in. So think long term. Don't delay. Do this now. All right. Enough of that rant. So all right, now I'm going to skip back over. And what did I say I was going to do? I was going to look at... What did I say? I was going to look at... Oh yeah, subscriber forms and stuff. Oh, and sharing on social. Yeah, don't let me forget about that. All right, so let's do this super quick. So I'm at my... So what you do is you go to your newsletter section. Just going to skip around, man. I am like big time ADD today. I'm not usually like this, but I'm excited. So here's where you add subscribers. It's super simple. You just click new subscriber and add them that way. Everybody's probably going to know that. Or if you have a list of people, you can import them like this. Oh yes, categories. So remember I said before about if you're in, I used the example of Regina. So if you have maple wood, I think I said, or something like that. So if you wanted to create something like that, and this is something you can reach out to me to do if you want, but I think you go like new category, type in your parent would be, in this case, Regina, and then you would just type in maple wood here, and then click create category. So what this would do is it would create a separate category off of your Regina real estate. So you could sell anybody that didn't live in the Maplewood neighborhood, you could send them the Regina version. So there'd essentially be two versions of the newsletter within your one account. Anybody that anybody that lives in Maplewood, you just designate them to receive that version, and that's the version where you put content that's specific to that neighborhood. All right, so I've talked about that. Now the next thing is about the sign-up forms. So the sign-up forms, what you do is you go into, there's two ways to do it actually. So you can go into settings and then embed code. So this is how I would get the code for check out my latest newsletter. So if I don't know why I started talking about Regina. I'm just going to stick with my Kitchener-Waterloo. That's where I'm from. So I'm going to select that. Now, a lot of you will just have the one newsletter in your account anyway. So you just select that, and you just take this link here. It's very important that you take this link and use this link, because if you take this link and put it in a browser, it's going to actually change very slightly over here, and it'll show the latest version. But if you use this link, say in your email signature, for instance, this link will stay in your email signature forever, but then when people click on it, it'll show them the latest version. So that's how you do that. And then this will transition nicely into the sharing on Facebook. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to share individual articles on Facebook. So you go to newsletters, and then you go to archives, and then Regina. Look at this, Regina again. All right, let's stick with Regina. So I've got a whole bunch of things in my archive just because, like I said, I've got a whole bunch of newsletters that I use for samples. But say I want to share a lot of services like this, they have it where you can share your entire newsletter on Facebook, but then what do you do for the rest of the month, right? You want to be able to share something all the time. So what you can do here is you could share this week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So if you wanted to share, say, creating a sanctuary in your home, you just click on this, and then you just simply click here, share it on Facebook. So you click share. It already takes, remember before where next to the image, next to the article rather, it had the social media properties. Well, this is exactly what this is used for here. So it takes that image that was there, it takes the title that we created, and it takes the description. So now all you need to do is say, bored at home, stuck with your kids, they're driving you crazy. Here's a few things you can do to help chill, or whatever your personality is. You put that in there and post it, and then this is what's going to appear on Facebook. It's going to look real nice and professional. And then when people click on it, it's going to direct them to your article. Basically, it's kind of like the next best thing to a blog. So you've got your header here where all your information is. You've got your social links. Of course, you've got the article itself. And then you've got your call to action at the bottom. So you can share that one article each week. All right, so now we're going to go back out of here, and I'm just going to look at my notes here because I don't want to miss anything. I know I've kept you guys a really long time. If you're watching this whole thing, thank you. Thanks for your patience. I'm hoping you guys are getting lots out of this. Okay, we talked about adding it. We talked about adding links. I talked about shared on social. So adding video and adding images. So I'm just going to go back to that real quick. So if I go here, I'm going to go to the Barry newsletter I've got this time. So to add an image, it's very simple. You basically would just click in your article, you click like here, you type in the image, or you click the image link rather, and then you just select the image that you want, and that just pops it right in there. Now to get an image in your image library, first you're going to, this is just telling me a warning. So I do want to leave the site because I don't want to save that. But first, you want to put the image in your library so that you can select it. So you just click on images, and then you just click on new image here, and just give it a name. And I'll put the image here first. So that's basically how you do images. And then for adding video, which is super cool. So if you want to record, as you can tell, I'm just getting into videos myself. I think it's a great way to communicate. The COVID-19 has helped me step up and help me do things that I otherwise wouldn't have done. So you got to, like I say, you got to take the good with the bad, right? From the bad. So videos, it's super simple to do. So basically, if I wanted to put a video in, say here, you just take this, you hold your left mouse key down and just drag that in, release it, and then you just cut and paste the YouTube URL. So you'd go to like YouTube. I'll just do it right here. Just go to YouTube. You take a video. Say whatever this lady's doing. She's making meatballs.
Need a professional website? I created one for our startup using Wix.
Oh no.
Let me show you how I did it.
Alright.
First, go to Wix.com.
Alright, we're done with that. So then you just take this, you just plop that in there. And then it creates a thumbnail. So that's how easy it is to put a video in. Alright. I think I've showed you everything here, but just reach out if you have any other questions about what you can do to make the most of your newsletter. And then I will flip back here to my keynote. And just a few other testimonials here. I don't want to be like I'm tooting my own horn, but I just want to show you guys what the different things that these newsletters can do for you. So I love how easy your newsletters to use. I'm excited to say this already put me back in touch with an old client who is now listing her property with me, and she also plans on putting an offer in on a new place tomorrow. And a lot of agents who use this service, they love it, but they don't really tell any of their colleagues about it. It drives me crazy because I really, referrals mean everything to me. So you're not going to have the same clients, subscribers as the next person. So please share my service with your colleagues. I'd really appreciate it. It means so much to me. And the people that send me referrals, I treat them like gold. If they have any question, I'll drop everything. I'll bend over backwards. Not that I don't do that for my current clients, but I really go the extra mile for the people who look out for me. I look out for them 10 times as much. So So I love this testimonial. I've been so impressed by your service that I told my coach at the Keller Williams training session yesterday about your newsletter. He asked me to forward your contact info to him. Did. He's going to pass it along to roughly 15 to 20 realtors who have joined their brokerage in the last 6 months. Oh, I love it. So that brings me to my last slide. We're almost done here. I think I've been babbling on for about an hour now, but let's see what we got next. This is finally it. We're finally at the end. So this is the referral program that we offer. So what we'll do, for each person, for each colleague that you send our way, we'll send you $75 in cold hard cash. Now, to make sure that you get credit for your referral, all you need to do is when you tell them about our services, just say, just mention my name to Russ, and he'll give you an extra month for free. That ensures you get the credit. So yeah, your referrals mean everything to me. So please send them my way. I'll make you some money. Your colleagues will be happy. Everybody wins, right? So anyways, that's the end of my first ever, I don't know if you really call it a webinar. I guess I call it more of a in-depth client tutorial. If you have any other questions, please reach out. In the meantime, stay safe, stay sane, and if you're out and about, I see so many people that are out and about and they're glum. I think everybody right now, it seems to be like you don't want to smile because you almost feel guilty for it, because other people are going through hard times. Just smile. I think, go for a walk and just smile at everybody, pass that word. Don't feel guilty about it, and just be there for people maybe that aren't so happy. And we're going to get through this, and we are going to come out the other side stronger than ever, guaranteed. So take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll chat again soon. All right?